Hello everybody, this is Mr. Bowles. We are going to be doing the last segment, or the last part, of the photosynthesis and cellular respiration Prezi. So in this segment, we are going through cellular respiration, but we're checking out aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Aerobic meaning like exercise, meaning breathing really hard and taking in lots of oxygen. Aerobic means oxygen. Anaerobic, the AN in anaerobic, means no. So no oxygen is being used. So we are going to kind of cruise through the beginning part of this Prezi, looking through photosynthesis and cellular respiration. So of course photosynthesis starts with sunlight. We know that. Going down, carbon dioxide's mixed in, and going down to the plant cell. We also know that water is mixed in. This all happens in the chloroplast. Glucose, which is C6H12O6, hopefully you guys all know that at this point, and oxygen, or O2, a molecule of oxygen, is actually made, and not just one, but 6 of them. You guys can see that right here. Okay, we have 6 molecules of oxygen that are made. Alright, so let's go on. Oxygen, do a quick advance through these slides. Oxygen and glucose are used in cellular respiration in the mitochondria, and it helps make ATP. Oxygen is used to make lots of energy. So 36 ATP are made through cellular respiration. In this segment, we're actually going to break that down. We're going to show you how only some ATP is made without oxygen, but most of the ATP is made with oxygen. Okay, and then also as waste products we have our carbon dioxide, 6 molecules of carbon dioxide, and 6 molecules of water. Alright, let's go on from here. Okay, so what happens with any extra glucose that the tree makes, it is actually put into this apple, so fruit. Okay, so say we pick that apple, we eat it, and this is where we come in. Okay, so cellular respiration happens in us too. Let's say this little girl is eating this apple. Obviously she's not going to swallow it in one giant chunk, but the idea is that she breaks it up. That glucose gets into the stomach, starts getting broken up, passes down through the stomach into the small intestine, and then it's absorbed through, remember this, the villi in the small intestine. Okay, so the glucose diffuses into the blood cells, and you guys can see the C6H12O6, the glucose, diffusing down through the villi and into the blood vessels that are in the villi, and then that glucose is delivered to all the cells throughout the body. Alright, let's go on, because this doesn't have anything to do with cellular respiration, really. Okay, so now the blood vessels deliver the nutrients and the oxygen all to the cells. So we have our blood vessels here, we have our round cells over here, and you can see our glucose and our oxygen traveling through the blood vessels, being delivered to the cells. And this is a little bit old stuff. This is some transport across the membrane. We have glucose diffusing into the cell through an open protein doorway. Remember, we have high concentration of glucose on the outside of the cell traveling into the cell to provide a low concentration. So a high concentration of glucose on the outside of the cell, and that travels into the cell where there's a lower concentration. So this process doesn't actually use energy. It doesn't use any energy at all. And next we have oxygen. Oxygen diffuses into the cell through the phospholipid bilayer. Okay, so it's not it's not a facilitated diffusion. It doesn't use a protein. Okay, and it goes from a higher concentration again to a low concentration. So going from high to low doesn't use any energy at all. Alright, so let's get on to the cellular respiration part of this whole thing. Alright, so cellular respiration is making ATP, flat out, just making ATP or energy for the cells. Okay, so there are two types, the ones that we're going to highlight. Anaerobic, like I said was before, that it does not use oxygen to make the ATP. And then we have aerobic, and it does use oxygen to make ATP. Okay, so anaerobic respiration, even though it doesn't use oxygen, it can still make some ATP, just not a lot. Alright, so when we start off here, we start off with glucose. We start off with C6H12O6, but no oxygen is involved in this process. Let me back up so you can actually see this whole thing here. Okay. We actually have 10 enzymes that are being used in this process. Okay, so we have one molecule of glucose, 10 enzymes being used to help speed up the chemical reaction. 2 ATP are made, and then throughout this whole process, there's this molecule called pyruvate that's made. Pyruvate then travels on to the mitochondria to be used during aerobic respiration. Okay, so we only have one molecule. I'm going to go back real quick. We only have one molecule of glucose that's being used here. This is where it's being used. It's not being used anywhere else. Alright, so glucose is used in anaerobic respiration, not aerobic respiration. Okay, so we follow pyruvate into the mitochondria. And here, this is where a lot of the stuff happens. Okay, so we've already been over this. So aerobic respiration does use oxygen to make ATP. Alright, so 18 enzymes are used. Okay, we have 18 enzymes used during aerobic respiration in the mitochondria to help speed up this chemical reaction. Our oxygen is used by enzymes to make 34 ATP. Alright, so we have a lot more ATP being made here because oxygen is present. Okay? And now these are our waste products. Now we have a total of 36 ATP. Alright, 2 from anaerobic respiration, 34 from aerobic respiration. Okay, now this ATP can go and be used in any kind of cellular processes, whether it be membrane transport, or making proteins, or moving things around the cell. It doesn't matter what it is. ATP is going to be used in any of those processes. Okay, and then we also have our carbon dioxide and our water, are both waste products. It does not show it here, but again, we have, as we talked about before in cellular respiration, we have 6 molecules of carbon dioxide and 6 molecules of water being made. Okay? Alright, let's go on. So we're going to sum it all up here. Okay, we have our cellular respiration, both anaerobic and our aerobic types, and we're looking at the totals here. Okay, the things that are used, meaning the reactants. Okay, we have 1 glucose molecule, 6 molecules of oxygen, and then 28 enzymes. Alright, so one of the things that I want to say is that enzymes aren't actually used up, okay, because they can be used over and over again. Okay, but they are used during this process. They are considered, not necessarily considered a reactant, but definitely used during the process. All right, our products, what's made? 36 ATP. All right, 6 carbon dioxide and 6 water molecules, which we just talked about. Okay, and this is the whole formula in a nutshell. Okay, we have our C6H12O6, which is our glucose. Then we have 6 oxygen molecules, 28 enzymes being involved in the whole process, and then we have 6 carbon dioxide as a product, 6 water as a product, and 36 ATP as a product. Okay. Okay, so this is a lot of information. What I recommend you doing is going back through it, looking at any of the details you feel like you missed, and this is a good resource. So Go through it as many times as you feel like is necessary in order to get all the information. Come ask me questions if you need to, and I think that's about it. So to make sure you got to the very end of the Prezi, what I would like you to do when you come into class on Monday is, as you come through the door, hop on one foot to your desk to show me that you actually listened to everything I asked you to listen to. All right, thanks. Hope you had a great weekend.